Hello, YouTube. This is Piss Moan and Birds!
Birds. Hello, yes, bird. Yes, hello.
Birds.
This is bird. Yep. Hello, bird.
Bird is the word. I mean, we just
We're
got
gonna get
copyright
taken down
striked.
for that.
Actually,
Jeez.
they've specifically changed the rules on that. So now the companies get in trouble if they try to flag for like 5 seconds worth of audio from a song. They've specifically, explicitly changed the rules on YouTube.
Cool. So now
Nice
we
for a
can.
change.
So what we need to do is pick 5 seconds of a bunch of really good songs and just have them playing right after me.
Oh,
Or
God,
alternate songs.
I like the idea of like Russian roulette of like 5-second song clips. It would be horrible. You know, you could probably make a program to do that. It would be so bad. But
You
today,
could probably get a program that could measure it out and make it sound good.
probably
That would be cool. Today we're reviewing
the Birds.
The Last Jedi.
Everything's The Last Jedi. Just predates The Last Jedi and still is worse due to it. The Birds.
What an
I
absolute
wanna get the
blight
year.
on cinema. 35, I believe.
63.
63. Wow. Don't listen to me. I'm not good at things. So this was well into the color picture era, I would guess.
No, because it's black and white.
Well, I think he may have done that on purpose, though.
Huh. It's cool how the plot for this movie is so much more, I don't know how to say, like condensed or concise. It's not so, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not like rambling and like,
It's all paced. It's paced perfectly. It's one of the most perfectly paced movies I think I've seen.
like just this creepiness. You meet the characters.
It builds up. Yeah, you get plenty of time to meet the characters and like the characters before they're shoved into an unfamiliar circumstance.
I think if I don't give it this one negative review, is it peaks and then just kind of
Stays there.
ends. There's not like
true.
a conclusion. It just kind of
True.
ends.
Was there a sequel to this one? Because yes.
Don't knock my soda over. I've already ruined one keyboard.
An unrelated and poorly received sequel.
Let's watch it!
1994, direct to television.
Rick Rothensoul removed his name and just... It's so bad.
Tippi Hedren was in it too. There she is, hiding her face.
I like that the director was so unpleased with his results, he changed his name.
Bummer. So yes, there was a sequel.
Unrelated and poorly received.
But I think that's kind of the point, is that this is, well...
It was just kind of a story.
Before we get... I don't want to spoil. Well,
So yeah,
it's from the 60s. Do we care at this point?
We should do it spoilers and non-spoilers, because
Yeah.
this is so old, a lot of people haven't seen it.
It's fair
I think we're
enough.
kind of outliers that we've both seen it growing up.
Maybe. I suppose my sample size for YouTube is people who are huge movie buffs, so them all having seen it might not be the
in
correct...
1963, this is literally over 20 years older than I am. Like,
believe this is 3 years younger than my dad.
puts it in perspective.
Parents are old.
But the biggest thing I want to say, getting to see this in theaters was great. This movie absolutely holds up over time.
Mm-hmm. Even the special effects, like there may be one or two
There's
scenes.
like one or two scenes that are pretty bad, but that's about it.
Like I would
They
say,
have like a filter of birds that they just keep moving around over the camera, and
but it
everyone's just like,
sort of works.
ah,
I thought it worked for the. Well, you still struggle to tell which ones are real and which ones are not, because
True,
there are
that's
real
fair.
ones in there. God, it was so good because they spend a lot of time building up the characters.
all the characters are appropriately fleshed out and have. I think this is the group chat because I'm buzzing while you're beeping.
Tell them I said shut up. I mean, hi. Gift spam time.
Yeah.
That's when I hit the mute button on our chat. Fortunately, no one in our friend group watches our videos. So I can...
Dan!
Which one?
But yeah, this I can't emphasize enough that this holds up.
It's
Especially if
beautiful.
you get to see it in theaters. Some of the backdrops are pretty poor too. But
Well, they do it was kind of fun. You could tell that some of the backdrops weren't colored in. Specifically, there were buildings that were definitely in black and white, and the foreground wasn't.
oh yeah, just to clarify, we saw this in the colored version,
Yes.
the color remaster, and yeah, it was great. I think this would have held up even better as black and white. Honestly,
Probably.
I think some of the graphical snafus that we were complaining about are far less noticeable in black and white.
But it does such a good job of touching on some of the things that have become tropes in horror. This movie executes so well, like the scene in the diner where they're starting to accuse.
It's the end of the world.
Well, favorite character in the movie,
End of the world guy for best character.
but the lady who starts to blame what's her name on the
main heroine.
the burdening.
The bird.
That's a trope that's been done to death these days, but it just fits so well in here because it
You
was
showed
so
up.
subtle.
It's your fault.
And then she slaps her, and that's it. That's all it's really touched on, as opposed to
Like,
a major
everyone's
plot
just like,
point.
yeah, what are you talking about? This lady showed up and did not make the birds happen.
All the characters are great. They spend a ton more time than most movies these days on developing the characters in the movie.
So, for a movie from the 1963, like, that's a strong female character.
Yes,
She's one of the best. Like, I could put her up against any female characters in our current movie lineup for this year, and I can't think of one who's better.
because she's so much. She does everything on her own. She has all the agency in the world.
She's super independent,
She
strong
fights
will.
back at everything.
There was the one part where she gets injured in the room, which was pretty lame, but like, as a whole, like, her character was super strong and interesting. She absolutely took the whole film by the horns the whole way through.
And I don't know if you noticed, but there was no music in the movie.
I did notice that. That was weird.
It was cool.
It's something I'm not used to.
I like.
Quiet pauses are quiet pauses.
Well, it honestly reminded me of Your Name's use of silence, where things just go absolutely silent for you to stop and think about
Like,
what's
all
happening.
you can think of here is like the beating of your blood in your ears.
The breathing of the person next to you. Oh. God, it's such a cool thing. People need to use silence more in movies.
That was one of the things Nostalgia Critic did. I think it was actually for it that, like, sometimes their use of music was so over the top and just like when, like, you could do the same thing with no music and the scene is far creepier and far more intense. And I think that the Birds handles that fantastically, especially the end part where you hear nothing but the birds calling. It's just,
and he's tiptoeing around.
yeah, everyone's like the tension.
Yeah, because
That is one of the tensest movie moments ever. I saw this when I was like 10 or 15 maybe with my family, and I could remember bits and pieces of the whole movie. I remembered that end sequence, like, vividly. I remember that end sequence. The way he's tiptoeing is just, oh, it burned into my head as a kid. It was so intense.
I remember being able to pick out the bird that was focusing on him, and then going into IMDb credits. Oh yeah, that bird hated him. He picked on him every day at the set. And I was like, "Yep, I was getting that energy from that bird."
Bird actually hates him.
God, it was so cool. They paced perfectly. All the characters are great, especially the teacher. The teacher was my favorite.
Yeah, what a deep character. It's like, some people, like, so many movies overdo romance to, like, ad nauseum, and, like, that's a romance-based character that was super interesting. Like, I can't think of a good romance plotline like that I've seen in recent years.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. It was just so well done, and everything. The creepiest scene for me was the birds arriving at the school. I think just piling in on the place set outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn.
Oh, for me, it was definitely that end scene. That was just so
Well,
creepy.
that one, for me, that one was already... That's already tension at the height. This one raised the tension that high. Oh,
And they even interspersed comedy in such a clean way.
yep, it all felt very natural. That's
So-
something movies don't do these days, is feel natural. They feel very movie.
It's the end of the
Feel
world.
very movie. Like The Last Jedi. Hey, you got it in there.
Twice.
Um,
Was that you, Kingdom Hearts?
yeah. Maybe? Maybe not.
1.5 remix?
I might
Might
have
have gotten
one.
my own.
Topic here.
I do have some other stuff, I'm pretty sure.
It's... Oh, yeah, that's
That's
Bill's
definitely-
end of Evangelions. That's probably mine. I need to give that back to Bill. He's out of state.
Didn't he come back for State Fair?
Yes, and he's already gone again. He never even saw me.
Yeah. This is like a straight up 9 out of 10 movie. Like, this is some
Yeah,
of the best cinema
definitely.
ever.
Yep, it deserves every piece of...
It is legitimately reinvigorated my desire to see more of Alfred Hitchcock stuff, because this was top notch film. Absolutely top notch.
That was great. It was great. I'll go see it again. Anytime it's in theaters.
Deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress and selected for preservation in its National Film Registry. Cool. I agree with that. This is a cornerstone film in my mind. Absolutely amazing.
Probably one of the starters to the thriller genre.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not fair to the monster movies. I don't know. I shouldn't talk out my ass. I mean,
This is what
any
we do
more
here.
than usual.
I don't know. I don't think we need to get into spoilers. We pretty much did already.
Yeah, 9 or 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's 9.5 out of 10. We'll put it there.
This is some of the best film ever.
Just great.
Like, I put this up there with, like, Your Name, Spider-Verse.
Oh, it was so
This
good.
could easily be a film of the year to today.
Yep. Maybe we should qualify it as part of our...
Best films ever?
well, as part of our films of the year.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, we can throw it in there. It's not a 2019, but we can. Screw the
Maybe
rules.
we should go by what
Well, it
we've
depends on
seen
how many
this year.
bad movies there are this year, because right now, I couldn't get top 5.
No.
Any words of wisdom for the viewers?
I do have a bottom 5. I have a bottom everything except for 1 or 2, maybe.
I don't know if I could do a bottom 5 right now.